Hello and welcome. My name is Tom. This is the Enthusiasm Project, Season 4, Episode 9. Also, Secret Series, Episode number 2. So, last week, I played a secret recording that Heather and I did in early February. That was where I had made the decision, or it was pretty much leaning towards the idea that I was ready to move on from my job and dive into YouTube and online content creation full time. But before making any kind of actual real world decisions, Heather recommended that what if you acted as if and just sort of lived with that reality for a while and, see how that feels and all the different things that popped up. And after a few days of that, we sat down and sort of shared the hows and the whys and that sort of thing. And that was last week's episode. This week's episode is the next step. So this was recorded at the end of February, so about 3 weeks later. And at this point, not only had I made the decision, but this was actually recorded on the day that I turned in my resignation officially. So that was a very exhausting day because things are exhausting in general. And that was a day where I had worked all day. We didn't do a couples table that day because it just made sense. But it's been busy. It had been very busy up until then anyway, just with everything happening and chaos and just so many different things happening on top of trying to navigate resignation. And I had been absolutely dreading having to go to my boss, who's been nothing but kind and supportive to me over the past 5 years that we've worked together, and turn in a resignation in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of the school preparing to transition back to having some students in person and some students online, and then me just kind of going, well, also this is a thing that you're going to have to deal with. And so I had to navigate that, and it was very, very scary. And the thought of doing that was very, very stressful. And even the process of turning in the resignation letter, because I, got to work early that morning and tried to go into the office to do it. But it was like every time I went, like the door had just shut for another meeting or another call or something. So every time I'd walk to the office thinking like, okay, it's happening, this is it. And then it would be delayed, and it ended up being like 4 different times. It was very, very stressful, but I did it. We cover that whole thing in this episode. And then the other thing that happened that same day, that was huge victory, and then immediately got, I don't want to call it like a negative thing that happened, but definitely a wake up call to, oh boy, things could go wrong if your own personal thing is what you're relying on for everything. And it's, of course, because I have nothing but impeccable timing, of course that would happen on that exact day. Like after I turned in resignation and decided to dive all in, there would be a speed bump, we'll call that. So that's what this week's episode covers, the actual process of resignation, how that went, and the first stumbling block that I experienced literally the same day as all of that, in addition to just being wildly exhausted. So I'm going to smoothly transition over to that recording, and I hope that you enjoy the process.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Heather.
It's been 3.5 weeks since our last episode.
Right.
It's been a very, very long day.
Yes.
2 big things happened today,
Yes.
and we will try to tackle them individually.
Okay.
So I'm going to walk you through this process because I know you're still...
I'm fried.
Okay, so why don't you talk about the big thing that happened in the first half of the day?
Well, this is the real big thing. So today,
I
officially gave my notice that I will not be coming back next school year.
Can you describe how you felt yesterday?
So I have been anxious the whole time, and it's been going back and forth between like kind of around the last time we recorded a little like secret podcast to be released at a future date.
The secret series.
Yes. I was very, very excited, and that excitement was still there, but the last week or so has been a lot of anxiety, a lot of like, just anxiety, uncertainty, all that stuff. But it didn't mean I wasn't going to do it. And because currently there's a ton of talk about schools going back and this hybrid format and all this stuff, that it just like, even though the end of February is very early with everything that's happening, it just sort of felt like the right time. And my principal last week just randomly said, do you have time to chat? Can you come by my office when you're on campus this week to talk about totally unrelated, like helping out with project stuff, not anything like this. And I was like, look, if all this stuff is happening, I need to give my notice. He's specifically asking me to come talk to him in his office. The timing is right. And so I was very, very nervous. And yesterday, like last night, didn't sleep. I was so restless. Ben threw up. Everybody was restless.
A long night.
Basically woke up at 3:30 this morning and didn't really go back to bed. And I don't know what time it is. It's like 8 o'clock at night or something now. And so that's how I was feeling. But I last week worked on my letter of resignation, did a couple drafts of it, had you look it over. So I had a printed out letter. I've never given like a legit official letter of resignation before. And then I've just been like thinking of how to approach it, what to say. And I've just been like,
So this whole time, because you made the decision that you were officially not going to renew your contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when was that? It was a couple weeks ago.
I mean, it was around the time we recorded the last one of this. So I don't know,
and
a month almost.
You have not looked back.
It's
in terms of that decision.
No, I haven't.
Right. Okay.
Even doubt and anxiety. No, that hasn't been, because as far as I'm concerned, my job doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
What was that?
Alexa's like talking to us.
There is no like going back to normal.
Hold on. Sorry. You can edit this out if you want. Alexa's reminded me to give a snack to the dogs.
I don't know if I'll remember to edit this out.
It's fine. Then you guys are just gonna. This is the household. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
So this morning.
Yeah. So there hasn't been any looking back, because as far as I'm concerned, it's not that I'm like, my job as it was, which was already stressful and already something that I was ready to transition out of just pre all of this, it doesn't exist anymore. And it's been confirmed that, going into next school year, it's going to be a weird hybrid thing, regardless of what happens this school year. And then I have to rebuild at that point.
Yeah.
I'm starting over.
That's a whole nother episode.
So, yeah. So anyway, so it was just very clear that this was the thing to do.
This is the right decision for you.
For me.
Okay.
Yes.
So this morning.
Yeah. So this morning I go to school on Thursdays, and I get there early at like 7 o'clock or a little before, because I have a class at 8:30 and I need to prep stuff, and we record our broadcast and all that. So I was like, okay, I'm have my letter. I know principal gets there about the same time I do. I'll first thing in the morning just take care of that. And it's like a long walk from my classroom to the office. It's all the way across a huge outdoor campus. And I walked all the way over there. And then he was in a meeting, and I was like, oh God. So I kind of like hung around a little bit, and then walked all the way back, and then walked all the way over, and he was in an interview, like a job interview for somebody, and then all the way back. And then I went like 3 times, and every time I went, I was like fairly calm on the way to work. I got to work, like setting stuff up, I was fine. But as soon as I picked up my letter, got my keys, and went to go walk out the door, like my legs turned to complete jello, heart racing, the whole thing. And then that just happened every time I went to the office. But every time I went to the office, the door was closed, and then it turned into time for first period class. And I was like, well, I have to do class now. So switching gears completely to that, where then kids are asking like, oh, if we come back, will we be able to like record broadcasts and stuff? And I was like, I don't know. We'll have to play it by ear. And then, then you get into teaching mode. There's a thing, I'm just going to say it's a thing that is legitimately taught to you in teacher training classes. And it's specifically what you're told is leave your feelings at the door. Like, you're having a bad day, you're sick, you're not feeling well, you have to just leave, you shove your stuff to the side and I understand why. I don't know that that's always the healthiest thing to do,
Right.
but you get really good at like, okay, switch it
Compartmentalize,
and just go for it. But then the tricky part is switching back. So, class is pretty normal, class ends, and then suddenly I was like, oh, right, I have to go do this now. And then I went and, his door was open and I walked in and he was just happy. Good morning, what's up? We had to talk. And I was just like, we need to talk this morning. I was like, before that, though, I need to just update you on something. And I just said as succinctly as I could, I made the decision that I'm going to leave teaching. I'm going to move on from teaching at the end of this year. And he was like, oh. But he handled it so nicely. Very different than past experiences. He was just very gracious and very understanding and actually very happy. Like, oh, I've seen your stuff, taken off and makes sense that that's what you're going to do. And, I'm happy that I had you for the 5 years that you were here and very exciting. And I explained, like, I'm giving you the letter and giving you notice now because my program it's a tough one to replace. And I just want to make sure that you have as much notice as possible. And he was like trying to make me feel better, I think, 'cause he's like, I've left positions where I thought, it was going to crumble after I left. And it turns out the world went on. And I was like, yeah, it will be okay. I know. And so then I made the offer, like, if you want me to help out and work on, transferring as much knowledge and info as possible, I'll do that. And if you want me to just sort of step back and let you guys transition how you think is going to be best for the long term, I'm cool with that too. Like, it's the mindset of I'm not going to be here anymore, so I don't want to. It is my program, but it's in such a weird state right now that it's like,
right.
For those of you who are going to continue being here,
They're going to be there. Yeah.
You're the ones that have to deal with this.
They
so
should decide.
Yeah, exactly. You get priority in that. And it was super duper just nice about that. But then the other part popped up, which was you and I made this decision a while ago that if they said we were going to come back to a hybrid situation, which is just
any situation that requires you to be on campus
with students, yeah, because I'm on campus right now, but I'm alone. I'm alone. Yeah, there's no one else, talking to my principal, which we were more than 6 feet apart the whole time with masks on. Yeah, and that's the only person I interacted with. I just made the decision I'm not on campus with students. And I think that our school's actually doing above average compared to in terms of preparation for students. And it's still going to be a mess if it happens. And it's been seeming like we're just going to stay online the whole year and then do a hybrid thing in the fall. And then the last couple weeks, nope, huge push to come back. So it really seems like we're going to come back in April. And I was the whole time I was debating, I don't want to give an ultimatum. I know this went so well. I don't want to then throw a wrench.
Yeah, but I think with this particular situation, it's like
I just needed to be. I knew what I knew was that I was going to walk out, and if I didn't get everything clear, and I had to tell you, and you would say did you tell him this? I'm like, no, it's going to be one more thing.
Yeah, then you're just it's baggage that you're taking home.
And the whole reason we had to meet originally was to talk about some stuff that's happening at the end of the year for graduations and things and making plans. And so I said,
you're not going to be there.
Yeah. And so I said, well, here's the other part of this, and I just explained my reasoning as briefly as I could of, I've decided that I don't want to come back in person. And he was, again, super understanding. And, you got to do the best that's for you. Even helped me, gave me some advice on if you need to, you could figure out if you can use sick days for that time or whatever. And so, I said I'm here to facilitate and, be active and do the best I can. My goal is until the end of the school year, but till as long as I can.
Yeah. And
that was kind of where we left off, which has been great. And then, I kind of left and I was like, wait, was that it? What do I do now? And then he had me come back and sign an official form of resignation, which was very intense because it literally it's just a triplicate form that's just, this employee on this date resigned, checkbox in person with a letter to this person. Last, date of work will be this date. which on that form was June 5th. So I guess that's the last day of school. I don't even know when the last day of school is. And that was strange because it was like, oh, this is like this is going to the district office. This is non-revocable. Like that's it. So jumped out of the plane, and now you just like.
Okay, so now that you're flying, how do you feel?
Well, I felt great, and overall, I'm so tired right now, but I felt great. I feel great. Overall, I was very excited.
So no regrets.
No, because there's no option. The only other option would be to destroy myself mentally.
Yeah.
And put myself in jeopardy, and it's sort of a joke, but it's also not. That like legitimately in staff meetings, the question pops up of, do we leave our doors open then to protect from the virus, or do we keep them shut like we're supposed to protect from shooters? That's just one small detail, but that is definitely not what like little old me with a liberal arts degree, English lit degree, wanting to make digital media stuff. Like those are just not things that I'm equipped,
prepared for. Yeah.
And so it's not an option. Like just,
yeah.
And it is what it is. And
I wouldn't even let that happen. So
I know. And we've been trying to put measures in place to we've been looking at our health insurance quotes because that's such a huge thing. And I mean, that's one of the biggest benefits is I have really good health insurance, and just figuring out all that stuff, which helps put me at ease when I know how things are being taken care of. So I was super happy. Called you, gave you the whole rundown on what happened. Called my mom. My mom was actually like happy and crying, which I don't know when that shift happened, but that's not what I would have expected a while ago. So it was a big deal. And, then, and it definitely did help. And I taught my classes, and I did a freaking great job on my other classes in the day. And it's strange because perspective just immediately shifted of
you feel it.
Yeah. Like, oh, I don't need to worry about this. This is no big deal. And then, I started packing stuff up because I only go to campus once a week. And there's really only a couple weeks left before spring break. It seems like I really don't know if I'm going to actually be able to come back after spring break. So I need to kind of get everything cleared out. And my rooms are, even without my personal stuff, there's like so much stuff to just organize and figure out. And I just want to keep it like, I need to get my stuff out, and I don't want someone to come in. And I've taken over crappy classrooms where you have to sift through someone else's life, and it sucks. And I don't want to make someone else do that.
Let's talk about how you were feeling when you got home and you were telling me, and you were just like, because I was super.
You were very excited, and your excitement makes me more excited because then it's like, because the thing is, like, I feel just a sense of guilt. And
that's just your nature.
I know, and
that's normal.
Like my principal was saying, like, I'm so happy for you. He even said, above all, I'm so excited for you. And then I checked in a couple hours later with my specific like department administrator, and I was like, oh, I don't know if you've heard. He's like, no, we talked a little bit. And he's like, I'm sad, but he's like, more than anything, I'm just so happy and excited for you. So everybody was
because
the best possible reaction you could hope for.
Because everyone has everyone knows what you're doing,
which I didn't really realize.
And the fact that you're going to be able to focus on that, I mean, who wouldn't want to see where you're going to take it?
Yeah. So I mean
it's not like you're leaving for another job.
Yeah, that could be different if I was like, I'm going to the school on the other side of town.
Of course, that's like weird. Why?
Yeah, but that's
especially since you run the program there.
Yeah, but it's not that. I mean, and I was clear. I was like, if I was going to keep teaching, like, I got it. This is...
Yeah, you have the best job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel guilty. That helped me feel a little better. And then your excitement, it was like, oh, this should be like a...
And just for the record,
cause for celebration.
Yeah, for the record, I'm insanely excited. I mean, not only do I have a life partner who's like the best, but now business partner, like... This is my dream. Like, we can literally design our life.
Yeah.
From morning to night,
which
like
is
every
very,
waking
very,
hour.
It's very exciting and also so scary to me because I've just never.
Oh, you're gonna get over it so fast. Like that first morning where you don't have to set an alarm. You're gonna be like, wow.
Well, it's not. I mean, I've not had to set alarms before, but not have to set an alarm and like not because even summer vacations, which are long. It's not as long as non-teachers think that they are, but I can't help but focus on this is everything I need to do during summer vacation. That's just like not a thing anymore.
I remember what it was. It was Labor Day. That's the one in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this was the Labor Day after I had quit my job. And like you just feel like, oh my God, what are you going to do for Labor Day weekend, 3-day weekend? It's like at the end of summer. So weather's still beautiful and everyone's going on 3-day weekend, staycations, vacations, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, for me, I was like, when's Labor Day? Like, oh yeah, there's a Labor Day thing. Because there is no weekend. The concept of a weekend, I mean, you can take a weekend Thursday, Friday if you want.
Right.
It's totally up to you, which is awesome. Anyway, so I'm super excited.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all of your support.
And I'm just so excited. I mean, the thing that I'm most excited about is to see you dedicate all of your energy to your own thing without any barriers or
I can't imagine.
approval, permission, like nothing. Like you can. I was thinking about this in the shower. So
it's where all the good thinking happens.
Tom, like you have been on this bus, the struggle bus. Okay, you're on this bus, and like
I drive that bus.
The team that you work for is on the bus, and there's some people who think they're the driver and some people who not, and there's all this conflict, and you're trying to drive in one direction, and it's just a mess, right? But working as yourself, it's kind of like water making its way through something where, like, even if you blocked, like, if you put, like, a barrier, the water would just go around it and find a new way until it got to the bottom of the bottle kind of thing. And like, it just, even though, because where I'm going with this is because after all the celebration, you had your first hiccup.
Yeah.
Which caused a lot of stress. But I was thinking like, it's not like a door closes. It's just, you just reroute. But you're still heading in a direction. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship is like, yes, you don't have to like get approval or permission or anything. And yes, there's a different other kind of stress, but you will always be in total control of what you do have control over.
Right.
And that's like an amazing, powerful feeling.
Right. And I'm excited to explore that feeling.
So why don't you talk about
So this sucks because hopefully in the grand scheme of things, the other thing that happened today is very small potatoes.
I think it feels big potatoes because it's the first thing.
The timing is, and this is the thing, is I was telling you before this happened, like I'm scared to feel celebratory because I'm just that, you know, if I feel good about something, that means something bad's going to happen.
So literally you got home like before 2:30.
Yeah.
And then this thing happened at 3:30
right.
when we were going to go get dinner.
You're like, I was like, cool. I saw my email and I got an email from
We were about to go out the door.
I thought this was a fake email. Actually, it was an email from Amazon Associates because I'm do the Amazon affiliate links and stuff. And they send out emails fairly regularly, just like updating the program every month. So I kind of thought it was that, but it said action required. And I was like, And I clicked on that. It said your Amazon affiliate account or Amazon associate account is at risk of closing. I was like, oh my God. Like I'm so conscious about labeling everything and following the rules and all that.
You want to talk about like who is like the rule abider? Like Tom, he will follow every single rule to a fault.
Yeah, and
that's who you are.
The thing, I will incriminate myself for things I'm not even like guilty of. And the thing is, currently, like I did episodes all about breaking down revenue streams. Amazon, even though I have lots of revenue streams, Amazon is the biggest one.
It's your biggest one.
Yeah, Amazon and Google AdSense, but usually Amazon breaks it out. This month specifically being, which is weird because it's short February, a very good thing, my biggest month ever on Amazon, like by far. And the month's technically not even over yet. And then I get this email, it's like your account's at risk for being shut down for rule violation. And they, I don't have my phone here, but the thing they cited, they send this very vague email. I don't know if it's a person that like clicks a form or if it's just an AI that sends it out, but it says, mine said for like essentially like misrepresenting our relationship with you for, I think he used the word bombastic, like outlandish claims and stuff like that. And it said in these examples here, and it linked to 2 of my videos. One of them was about a USB mic, where I just looked for the least expensive USB mic, and the other one was just some boom arms, where I compared some mic boom arms, and it's like, okay. And the problem, and it's the wording is like vague, but what it says is you have 5 days to respond. If you don't respond in 5 days, we permanently hold your earnings, and we can close your account, and it's just done. And once your account's closed, you can never reopen it. So that's very scary. And that happened right as I'm like, okay, things will be okay, and money's okay, and I should just relax and enjoy myself. Then it's like, oh, your biggest revenue stream now at risk for reasons. And so what I could find,
I was so annoyed at the world.
and
I
it
was
also,
like, why today?
I know, because you also know how I will then react to things.
Okay, so here's two of Tom's like biggest things that he doesn't like. Like it will make him act in a very like tail tucked between the legs, kind of like completely shuts down. One is he hates being yelled at.
Yes.
And two, he hates being in trouble.
Yes.
And it was a combination of both.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
on like not even an hour after we,
right.
And I was over here trying to like
I've
make a big deal. We were going to go to Carl's Jr.
That's
to
a big
celebrate.
deal.
Yeah.
I've been in the Amazon affiliate program for years.
And I am the one who's been like, babe, we're going to be okay. Don't you worry about the money thing. Like, blah, blah. And then, of course, like.
On this day of all days.
Yeah.
And
everything is at risk. And I was just like, why?
And the email, too, it's not like, oh, just reply and talk to a customer service rep.
Yeah,
it's like,
who like wants to help you. And
you have to click on a form and then fill out the form. But they're so specific. Like, literally, it's like, click this link to fill out the form you want to fill out. Click this link to find out what you need to include in that. It's just a very small thing that says, like, you need to, like, it's like language. You almost need to copy and paste. Like, I did this. So what I believe my issue was, so if anyone is using Amazon affiliate stuff, and I understand this now, was just don't even hint, basically just don't even say Amazon in your videos or whatever. If you link to something, you have to say it's an Amazon link, of course, but just if you're making a video, don't say I bought this thing there or whatever. Just say, hey, like this is a thing I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. Also, don't talk about price. And I had heard in the past, like, oh, you don't want to say like definitive prices. And I never do. I always say like, this is about.
Yeah, because they change all the time.
Right. And so I have some videos where I'll say like at the time that I bought this, it was blah, 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 and prices fluctuate. And then, at the time or whatever. But I think that's what it was, because in these two videos, that's what I gathered. One of them said like it had Amazon, like the cheapest microphone on Amazon in the thumbnail. I was like, okay, that's very clear. Yeah. So I'm going to just swap that out.
Easy fix.
Well, I had to remake the entire thumbnail.
Right, but easy, like relatively easy.
And it is also one of my best performing videos. So I know that changing the thumbnail, changing the title is going to kill the video. And actually I did it. So sorry. So anyway, I did that, but then, so change the title, change the thumbnail, made sure to change the description. So it's literally just like, hey, is this budget microphone good? Let's check it out and compare it against some other microphones, like very vague and no specifics. And then the Amazon links, which say they're Amazon, has the affiliate disclaimer. I went through, I used TubeBuddy and went through and bulk replaced. I had always had the affiliate statement, but I took their current one word for word and just put it right in there. So it's exactly the one that they specifically say is okay to use. In every video, all 200 and some odd videos on my channel, I changed that thing. And then, though, in the video itself, I was like, okay, I'm not going to take the video down and lose like 200,000 views or something. But I'll have to use the YouTube editor, which is like very glad that it's there, but also incredibly like clunky and tedious to use, and like chop out, basically just add in 1,000 jump cuts. One video I had to just essentially chop off the entire intro, which if you know my videos, the intros are like the parts that I'm oftentimes they're the hooks. Yeah. So literally the video just starts with like, so I'm going to take this boom arm over here. I just cut off everything. And then they sent me links for 2 videos, but they just said examples can be seen here. So I was like, does that mean fix these 2 videos, or does that mean
the whole
like
thing? Yeah, like all of your videos.
So I tried my best to go through not that I had like a ton of videos that are like, oh, this this product or whatever, this specific Amazon product at this specific price. But I went through everything, including my most popular video, change the thumbnails, change titles, change descriptions, cut out chunk in the editor, just to like to make it so there's not even like a hint of anything. And then I in the little form I had to go and say specifically, in this video I did this. I removed blah 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 from thumbnail, blah 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 from title, this in the description, here's the link, you can see the updated version, which then I'm all worried because like on my YouTube it like showed, hey, it's edited, it's saved, and then like watching it back it's like, oh, I don't know, it takes time to process. So if they're surprisingly on top of it, then they could see the version before it's processed and they're not going to see the edited changes. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And then anyway, so I did all that, which took a lot of time. It was making like 5 thumbnails from scratch, editing videos, using an online based like editor, just mutilating your own work. And, you know, and I have no resolution as of now. So
how do you feel?
I feel crappy because that I don't know what to do. I mean,
there's nothing to do. You did it.
I just have to wait, but there's no resolution. It's just like, yeah, wait some days and then we'll see. Okay. And then anyway, well, we don't even need to go into that. But so here's how I'm trying to view it. What I've been thinking.
I have thoughts, by the way,
okay.
But you can go first.
Okay. Well, my one thought is, if I want to turn this into a positive in terms of timing and just raining on my parade, if this clears everything up, then I'm going to view it as a really good thing. At a very important moment, there was a very nice reminder of like, just keep things in line so you never have to worry about this again. And if that's what happened, if it resolved everything, I mean, I'm more than happy. Like, it's not like I tried to argue with them or anything. I'm like, if these are the rules, I will adjust for sure. And if that's it, and if that got everything in line, and then from here on out, I know just to be double sure to triple check everything, I'm cool with that. And that this could be a great time to have that reminder instead of later on.
This is the perfect time. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So if that's what happens, then I'm cool with it despite the stress, because I think that's a positive thing to happen right now.
An educational moment.
Sure. Teachable moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other thing is, I was like, okay, like I have been feeling pretty good about how diverse, 10 or 11 revenue streams coming in from my channel, but it's like, I need more.
Yeah, now you're seeing it.
Yeah, and it's like, and even stuff like, okay, so I have notes on, I already made a list of notes about like, I'm going to do, I really would like to focus on either YouTube channel memberships or Patreon. I don't think both is the way to go because I think that's too fractured, but I want to figure out like what.
Some kind of community based.
I want to figure out what my community. Patreon's the more like the common one that everyone uses. But if you're YouTube based, YouTube channel memberships are so easy to integrate.
Right there. Yeah.
So easy. But that YouTube also takes 30%. Patreon takes, 10% or something. So anyway, so I'm trying to, so that's something I want to figure out. And then I also, there's a couple other affiliate things that have just been kind of on the back burner, like B&H Photo, for example. I'm part of their program, but their interface, Amazon's affiliate interface to add products is
super easy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so,
find the product.
It's so
click
easy.
The link, done.
Everything else is like,
you can even do it on mobile.
Yeah. Do you remember surfing a website in 1997? Because that's what the other ones are like. It's like, what are these terms? What is this interface? Are you kidding me? And so I've just been like, just stick with Amazon because
it's so much
it's
of a
so
headache.
easy and it's all right there and it just updates nicely. But I clearly need to be focusing on the other ones, which is, obviously kind of a pain in the butt. And just sort of, and then figuring out, obviously courses coming out. So that's a revenue stream, which hopefully would be potentially a good one, especially if down the line, then there's more courses. But got to get the first course out before there can even be talk of that. I don't know. So that's kind of where, and then in my mind, I was like, okay, well, I guess, like what would happen if like Amazon just disappeared? How would I make up like $4,000 a month? And it's like, I don't know, sponsorships, but that's exactly what I don't want is I don't want to be the person that's like, I quit my job to do this full time. And now my whole channel is ads. That's the thing I don't want.
Yeah, but I think there's a way to do it. Like you're never going to let that happen.
I know,
and I think it's just like it has been quite the journey for you to figure out how you do your YouTube channel, I think figuring out the sponsorship things, like I told you, like have Rode invite you to their thing. Like it doesn't have to be here's a Rode product, like in this video sponsored by Rode, but like there's a way that you can make it work for everybody.
I would just like to be able to do that organically on my own time and not out of panic put out the fire mode, because I don't feel it's going to be the best. I don't think it's going to be the best iteration of it. So, yeah. Anyway, you said you had thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I mean, you kind of already have the same thoughts, but I was thinking about our friend Carissa, who's my accountability partner.
Right.
And she has, well, not anymore. She closed down her restaurant, but she had a restaurant. And when she moved from her, the original location, it was a family-owned restaurant, real mom and pop size shop, to a, like, there's several more tables. It was 4 times bigger.
Bougie.
Yeah, it was like so much bigger, but like the pain and process to get the permits, to get the health inspector to approve everything. And I mean, talk about them wanting you to fail before you even open.
And they were already up and running. Like they had already proven, like, look, we're a restaurant. We're doing it already.
And obviously these are all rules for a reason, but like, a certain amount of feet between equipment and like, how you sanitize it. Like there's so many things. And I just feel like the creator economy is amalgamous, like it's still something that all of us are trying to figure out. Companies, creators, fans, community, like, brands, all of it. And I know, we all know that you are very particular about working with companies and how you represent companies and their products and stuff like that. And I know for a fact that if you knew what the rules were, it's not like you would go around them. And
no, I'm not trying to subvert anything.
Right, exactly. And so the way that I see it is like you putting your notice is you saying, okay, I'm going to get the bigger restaurant. I'm getting the new space. And it just so happens that there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be some things that you didn't foresee, but this is part of it. This is part of the evolution. You're
right.
Shut up.
You're 100% right. And that's a wonderful analogy. It's just like,
I know it's frustrating because, like, okay, we know who we're dealing with. We're dealing with Amazon. But how many other companies have you talked to that are like so willing to have you have a seat at the table? Like, it sucks that Amazon is Amazon, but again, they're one thing. You're going to diversify. You haven't been able to diversify because you haven't had the time.
I know, but that's why, like, again, though, because even Amazon happened organically, like using links in the first place. It was just very organic, and it just ended up being such a good fit for my channel that it's like, oh, this is perfect. And letting that kind of stuff happen, not choking it to life, but just sort of consultations are a great example of something that happened organically. There's a revenue stream that's like, even the course you could argue is pretty organic. You got to consciously bring it to life, but the demand for it is there. Like it totally makes sense kind of thing. And more of that sort of stuff versus like scramble mode. And we have. I just don't want to be in trouble, and I don't want people to think I'm like. I mean, I wish I had my phone in here because I might be on my computer. I think I could read it because I think the email's right here on my computer if I can pull it up. It's literally like.
You're in trouble. Oh, Tom hates it when he's in trouble.
It's literally like, not only are you in trouble, but here's everything you're doing wrong. And action required. Your site makes inaccurate, overbroad, deceptive, or otherwise misleading claims about products, the Amazon site, our policies, promotion, or prices. It has language that misrepresents or embellishes our relationship with you, including by expressing or implying that we support, sponsor, or endorse you. An example can be found here, and there's links to 2 of my videos.
Yeah, but that's just a copy and paste.
I know it's a copy and paste, but that's why it's like, so which thing, like...
I know.
Like, clearly I've never said...
you guys could have seen Tom's face when he was reading this email. He was just like, holy, like...
Well, I thought it's something I don't need to pay attention to, and then I immediately think it's a scam.
No,
and then
you look like you hit a wall.
Well, because they're like
running.
I mean, and it says what's next. You have 5 business days to correct this, and then they give you like the link to the form, and it's like
now you know what to do, and that's fine.
Oh,
You fixed it.
I believe that I fixed it, but no one has,
I mean, you fixed it. Like,
I mean,
you
yeah.
give them 5 business
No,
days to
it says
respond to your
24
thing.
hours, but I'm counting on longer than that. But, it's just the waiting period. It's not like if it's an AI that sends the thing, it's not like the AI can then just like boop. And I was trying to do some reading, and some people said like you might get an email back, and the email's kind of vague that says like, "Thank you for your continued participation in the program." And you're like, I guess that's good. And then when you log into your affiliate thing, there's a big red banner at the top that says your account is at risk. And the other thing is like, if that just goes away, or if your account just goes away, you don't know. Like, Jesus. So, I mean, I appreciate the Amazon Associate program. I do not intend to mess anything up. I don't want to be in trouble, and I've done everything I could to try to fix it, and I've tried to even go beyond it, and like, I don't know. I even wrote my little thing like, I'm sorry, like I don't want to jeopardize my opportunity to participate, and blah blah blah. So,
Well, you had a celebration and a rude awakening.
jeez.
So how do you feel now?
I'm just I just feel tired, and I feel stressed. Like I don't really feel excited because I just feel stressed.
Of this?
Well, because I'm also exhausted, and because I am stressed from work, and I am, being a teacher right now kind of sucks. Which like now there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's just
doesn't make it easier.
Yeah. I'm not feeling great right now, but
Well, I am. I'm so excited.
I was feeling great earlier, and I was like, oh, this will be fun, because now, like, I've been at work all day anyway, and now I'm home, so we can, like, just... And it's like... And this was the thing, too, where it was like, I thought maybe I could fill out a form or do something and fix it in a half hour, but it took 3 hours, it took the whole
evening. But you know what? That's the beauty
I know.
of it.
And
you
if...
just fix it right away, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Right.
And...
I know. And I know, like, again, it could be one of those things, like, if it gets fixed, I'll forget it even happened in like 6 months. But, and if it's just a good learning experience, like, hey, you're doing this.
I think this is a good learning experience for sure.
I'm cool with that.
I mean, let me tell you the story of like, my rude awakening. Well, this was like a year into, it was after I got my car accident. Actually, so a year into my entrepreneurial journey, I got into my first car accident. It was April 1st. And I was on my way to a client, and this client wanted me to do a real estate video, basically, which this is newbie Heather, new freelancer Heather, who had zero experience and zero knowledge and zero like mentorship. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But this person was like willing to pay me to do, they had seen my videos, and I was like, I don't feel qualified, but whatever. If you think I can do it, then and you're willing to pay, I'll go. And I drove 2 hours to get to the place. Got into an accident. Still went to the client.
Wow.
Did the thing.
Wow.
Got home. Made my first draft. They were not happy.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like, okay, like, here's how, like, here's my approach. And, I specialize in vlog style type of thing. So that's what I chose to do. And, he suggested some fixes, and which I did. And then turn around with a phone call. Like, we want to talk about the video. And literally, I just feel so embarrassed to admit how much this was for. This was for $300. Okay.
It's like, I'll pay you $400 to go away.
So basically, I paid them half. I was like, here's the footage. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And I would rather just pay you so I don't have to deal with you. And so I was like, here's the money. Here's the footage. Bye. And that was like I wish someone would have told me, like, do not say yes to everything.
When you say you paid them money, did they give you 150 and you gave 150 back or something? Or like they gave you 300?
They gave me 300, yeah.
And you just gave money back with the footage. Okay.
Because I was like, I was
like, if you got $0, did the work and paid them.
But still, I got into a car accident.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, that's not their fault, but...
Hey,
I wouldn't have exactly like, I was so annoyed. And I mean, I'm embarrassed describing this because I'm so much more experienced. There's so many things, but it's like, I just had to go through it. Like, how else was I going to learn?
I know. And that's the thing too, for me, is as stressful and weird as like my job is right now, I'm experienced.
Yeah.
Like I know how to handle
You've
all
been
the things.
through every situation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then jumping into something where it's like,
Yeah, but you know what? But seriously, yeah, fine. You could say that.
I mean, I know it's not accurate because I've been doing it for a while
Yeah,
already,
you're not
but
starting from zero. Plus, you have me. Hello.
there we go.
Plus, you have a whole community
I
that
know.
refuses to let you fail. Like, come on.
Oops.
And that's saying a lot. Like that is saying a lot. You should really give yourself credit because you built that.
I mean, and that was a huge thing that you brought up too, where it's like, you're not quitting your job to start a business, which would be terrifying. It's like you've already been building a business for 4 years. And like I signed up for my YouTube channel in June of 2017, and I'm scheduled to officially leave my job in June of 2021. So that's the time frame of like just at least once a week, if not more, that whole time. New things have been coming out, figuring out new stuff.
Yeah.
Building more of this and
going through the experiences, like getting the experience under your belt and all that.
Yeah. And
and that's why it sucks, and I really think it's gonna be fine.
I have faith that it is. I mean, it did everything. I'm a very good rule follower, so I've seen like I can only imagine some of the other responses they get to things. It's probably just complete insanity, but so it's like, okay, look, I used correct grammar and
you're super professional.
I read the instructions as best I possibly could repeatedly.
You're trying to make it easier for them to see that you changed all the things and blah blah blah.
I know, but I don't have any comfort until there's resolution, and that's just me. And it's just there's just this thing that's happened like my whole life, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's literally like, and I've had this exact thing happen where like, oh my gosh, my taxes are $1,300, like my refund is $1,300 more than I expected. This is amazing. Boom. Here's also an unexpected bill for $1,300.
I know.
And it, like that kind of thing has just always happened. Like, oh my gosh, I've been able to budget really well and just put a little extra money into savings. Cool. Now I need all new tires. Like there's just every time there's like, wow, look, like step ahead. It's like, here's the thing I just feel like it's so hard to just break like a little further. And, I try to think like that's just all in your head. There's why, the universe does not care about you this much to like orchestrate these things. I still feel has to be the case. But then things like today where it's like, you've been doing this program for 900 days. But on this one particular day, this is when this thing is going to happen.
I know, but I seriously, like, I know telling you this as someone who's literally quitting teaching, that this is a teachable moment.
I know.
Like, I understand the irony.
It comes down to, like, I feel like, maybe if someone's an outsider and they're just like, this guy's, like, whining about Amazon. But what it is like, oh, a giant source of your income can just be that you've now come to rely on in a different way can just snap away. And they don't really there really needs to be no justification. If they're actually giving you the justification, that's basically a courtesy. Like they don't even have to do that. Yeah, it's a
courtesy. Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh geez.
And then you even mentioned another thing where this, friend
Kevin, the basic filmmaker on YouTube, his channel got hacked, like legitimately hacked 13 days ago as of this recording, and like someone got into it. I don't know what they did, but then it got deleted for violating terms of service. And his whole 8-year channel, which is his main source of income, just zapped down. And even though
disappeared, not down, completely
gone.
No,
it's gone.
It's non-existent.
And now if you go, it says that he violated terms of service. This channel has been deleted for violating YouTube's terms of services. He's like, I didn't do anything. And he's been working with YouTube and they've been helping, but it's now been 13 days of nothing and 13 days of no hope. And they said it could be weeks more, and every day is just more revenue going away. And it's just like,
God, that's terrifying.
I mean, I know. And there's nothing, it's not like he was posting his password online or something. Like, who knows what happened, but it's just that kind of stuff. So I was just reading this, like, oh my God, so scared. Like YouTube Studio didn't load the other day, like the app, like it was
do you
doing
guys-
weird things with numbers, and then it was like cannot be displayed, and I was like, uh-oh, and then of course it popped back up, and I have like all my two-factor authentications and randomized passwords, and I try to like do all the things you're supposed to do, but it's just I don't know, it's just
You're trying your best, babe.
I'm trying my
And it's
best.
enough. Don't you worry, okay? It's more than enough. You're doing fantastic.
Oh boy. So yeah.
Well, I really am enjoying this series. It's been like I
wonder-
feel bad telling you this, but seriously, like I'm just so excited.
Well, so let's end on the positive note, because I know I'm tired, and I know it's been just an emotional, stressful day. Also, didn't sleep last night, and for anybody who's listening who is like, "Oh, I'm excited to hear if Tom does this thing. Like, how's he handling it?" And then you're like, "Jesus."
Yeah, he's
So let's flip it into the positives, which is you and I talked about this earlier, and if what Tom doesn't like is being yelled at and being in trouble, what Tom does like is being in charge of his own time.
it's his favorite thing
Yes, and it's the thing that just doesn't really get.
ever. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really never
you've
had.
done your best, but
Yeah.
you've always had to compromise, or not even compromise, but sacrifice.
It's
You have to give stuff up.
which is, and that I feel like that's gotten unhealthy. Where now I feel like I can only have something good if
If you give something up in return,
if I've struggled
you have
or
to choose
or-
one or the other.
Right.
Well, guess what?
And so the idea of just being in charge is amazing. It's like when I started my YouTube channel, and there was that whole 2017 renaissance of like, just
You should do a whole podcast.
just
on
stretching out a little. I could do a podcast about that, but just reaching out, put yourself out there a little bit, and just discovering, like literally things like colors looked different and smells smelled
yeah.
different. Like everything was different. I would love for this to be that, and that is very exciting. And it's very exciting that one thing I hate, which I've talked about before, you and I have talked about before, is everybody has days where they have unpleasant things to do and whatever, but there have just been a lot of days where, whether it's from exhaustion or stress or whatever, where 5:15 in the morning my alarm goes off, it's dark outside, and my first thought is like, I cannot wait to come back to bed. And the day hasn't begun yet. Like the sun hasn't even risen. It's a brand new day, and I'm just like wishing it were away. And yesterday we had a staff meeting, and somebody was like, "Oh, there's 67 days left of school or something," and it was like, so much is just like how much
counting down.
Yeah,
to
first
the
day
next
back from
vacation.
winter break is how long till spring break? And that's the last stretch till summer. And then we got our summer. Oh, then we go back, but then there's a 3-day
The
weekend.
school year calendar.
I've literally,
is-
I've always thought of it as a luxury, but I've literally been in times where it's like the last 2 weeks of summer break, and I'm like, okay, we get that sweet 3-day weekend on Labor Day, and I'm like, I'm in a break, just looking for a break.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of wishing, I had to like catch myself recently, because with my students, I'll see them and it's Friday, like happy Friday, like, oh, nothing like a Friday before the weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, actually, I don't really want to teach them that they should be looking forward
Yeah.
to, they should be dreading most of their time. So I just kind of, stopped doing that. And the idea that you could stop doing that and not just wanting to like fast forward through massive chunks of your life is amazing. And that's the thing where it's like, wow, I really hope future Tom is grateful or is glad that was the decision that current Tom made.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
I mean,
referring
that's
to
how-
myself in the third person.
That's
but
totally how it's going to be.
yeah, I hope so. That's right. And then
I mean, there's definitely a different kind of stress when
Yeah.
you're running your own business, but
I mean, we have,
you will do it 10,000 times over in exchange for being able to be 100% in control of your time. Like it's
yeah. And I mean, we've worked hard to kind of be in a position where I don't know if there's ever a perfect time, but at least it's like, okay.
we're in a really good spot.
And then you told, which also wasn't there, but you told your brother and your mom today
I did.
about it, which is like, I've always known that it's nice to be like, when we were just, oh, who's this new guy? Oh, he has like stable job.
I know.
I am very cool with being, oh, it's fine. Like, it's legit. It's not, oh, it's his first year. No, it's his, whatever it was at the time, 8th year or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he's a career teacher. Yeah, professional. I mean, we gave my whole family a tour of your classroom, department, the whole thing. But they also, you know, I mean, my brother was like super excited. My mom was super excited for you, and it's weird because, like, it's kind of like you said with your mom. It's like I would have expected more hesitation, but they just know how capable you are. And plus, at least for my mom, even, she's like, I've seen you figure this out. Mm-hmm. And Tom is so much more practical.
Both her kids have made this.
Yeah. So you're going to, and of course, she said, worst comes to worst, because that's how she thinks. We have very marketable skill sets, you know, like you were freaking out, like, I'm going to go back to retail. I'm like, you're not going to be working at Target, my friend.
I have 2 teaching credentials.
Yeah, like, you've built this amazing program. You were county teacher of the year. Like, you have a whole resume that cannot be argued with. Like, I don't know, go into consulting. There's so many paths, my darling.
Well, I would like to be able to stay on my own path, and, you know.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, Amazon can.
I appreciate them very much. And I abide by all of the emails and all of the rules. And I did all the things. I tried to do everything I could possibly do to follow the rules and be a good child.
A good boy.
So there's one last thing that maybe you can kind of like. This has sort of been a weird hesitation. So I don't know when this will come out, but we're recording in February.
Yes.
March, April, May. Our 1-year wedding anniversary is in like less than 3 months.
Oh my God, I totally forgot.
And so
18? May 18th.
May 18th. And there it is. And one of the things we talked about our wedding, but one of the really cool things, you know, we just ended up doing it at the movie theater, and we just streamed it on YouTube. And the cool thing was, like, people got to be there who couldn't otherwise be there. Both my parents got to be there, which,
I know,
because of their situation, it was definitely going to be a one or the other. And my dad wasn't in good health, so I was like, I want to invite him, but then my mom couldn't go, and it was a whole thing. And because we streamed it and everyone could just be hundreds of miles away, everybody got to go. Yeah. And it was great. And with my dad's health and everything, he, you know, I was nervous about, like, how was he even going to make, I know it's not a long trip, but how was he going to make the trip and do all that stuff? And he didn't have to. He could just stay at home and do all that. So it was really, really great. And I know something he liked was he was always a fan of, like, just do things your own way. And, you know, he definitely had the, like, I'm not going to just, like, do what the system says thing. Yeah. Definitely. Let me tell you who would not have written a super compliant letter back to a $1 billion corporation. But anyway, so he definitely had, like, that streak. But he also had this weird, which I kind of only learned more about recently, like this weirdly practical side that I wasn't super aware of, especially I guess when he was younger. I mean, he worked for the Post Service for over a decade. He, you know, had lots of savings. He went on, like, retirement disability in the mid 90s and then always had good insurance and, you know, disability income for the rest of his life. But he also did so many non-traditional things and whatever. So I never really knew. I never really knew.
The last thing that we heard was he was like something about horses.
Yeah, he was
wrangling.
He was
horses.
up in Yosemite just, like, wrangling horses because he met a guy and it was like, now he likes horses. That was, like, his favorite thing in the world, was just to, like, go live out there and ride horses around. And I don't know. So he liked non-traditional stuff, but, like, the last really long phone call that we had, one of the things he said, he was asking about work and stuff, and he was saying that, like, he was so glad that he knew I was, like, secure.
Aww.
And he was asking how long it would be until retirement. And I was like, well, it's like 20 more years, you know, I'm 10 years in, 20 more years. And he's like, it's going to go so fast. And that's the same thing my mom said, which, like, the two of them, how different they are now, like, that's our mom was always like, just stick it out. 20 years is going to fly by. And I'm like, I know it will. Like, this 11 years has flown by. Like, I can't, it's crazy. Like,
has it though?
I mean, it's one of those, but for me, when I look at like, I'm cleaning out my classroom and I'm finding a stapler or literally like a box of paper clips that I bought in 2011. And I'm like, oh my God, like I remember buying this hole punch and it made my life so much easier. And that was 10 years ago.
Right.
Like, and it felt like it was 6 months ago. Like, so I know that time will go fast, but I don't want to spend the 20 years just like, I just gotta, I know if it were like I was 1 year away from retirement, okay, you just sort of stick it out. But 20 years is a long time. And if 2020 has taught us anything, it was, planning is hard and you want to do your best, but also like, it's also unpredictable. And if you're literally like 35 and you have opportunities, why would you wait until you're like in a different situation to then hope that you'll still be able to enjoy something? But you also don't want to just, you don't want to just throw everything away. And then your future self's like, what'd you do?
Right.
And so anyway, it was interesting that my dad, who had such a non-traditional bent for most of his life, was like so comforted by like, I like, you're secure, you're good, you're taken care of. And then he passed away like weeks after that phone call. And now I'm like, oh, that thing that I know, like up until the end, something that brought him comfort and made him feel good about me. Now I'm just going to kind of take that and like just step away from it. I feel bad about that.
Are you kidding? Okay,
I'm not kidding. And I know if he were here now, he'd be like, this is the coolest thing. But
100%. Like, okay, you guys, let me tell. Okay, I have so many thoughts. One of the things that Tom's dad loved talking about was Tom's YouTube channel. Like, he was totally a fan. He would read your comments, okay? Like, he was reading your comments.
I know.
He was definitely so proud of not just you, but like the fact that we did it together. Mm-hmm. Like that you found someone who also was doing the thing and was into the same things that you were.
He was there when I was 4 and got into this stuff in the first place. Yeah, are you
kidding? And I think, though, yes, of course he's going to be proud and happy that you have security, which is, that of course, like as a parent, I can see, that's something that he would be very excited about, like feeling peace that you have that. Mm-hmm. But also, I think if he knew this, like if he's there listening to this podcast right now, I think he would just be really, like he'd kick you in the butt if he knew you were even feeling guilty about this. Are you kidding?
I hope so. But yeah,
he would be so excited that you get to do, like, not only, fine, you're not going to have a stable paycheck, but you are going to have a higher paycheck.
Hopefully.
Doing the thing that you love doing and having so much more of an impact and like doing more of the stuff that he also loved watching.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't even.
Anyway, but yeah, but you understand where I'm coming from, right?
I mean, I understand why you would think that, but I think that's completely just you being irrational. Because you're not taking into account that was an actual option. Like, your dad didn't know that. You know, your dad wasn't thinking like, okay, in 5 years' time, you're actually going to pivot. Like, you hadn't had that conversation with him. It would have been a different story. I know for sure if you had told him that, he would have been like, dude, quit now.
I mean, I had no idea that was.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you weren't even thinking about it.
Right. So.
I think he is very proud of you.
I hope so.
I know so.
All right. Oh boy.
So yeah.
Well, that was exactly, you said that. Well, I don't know how long this is because I might have trimmed something off, but on our recording, that was literally said so yeah at 1 hour.
Wow.
In 0 seconds. So good timing.
Well, I'm excited for the next episode. This is all in my head. I'm planning out like.
Oh, okay. My content calendar.
Well, for this series, because I think it's just. I think it's something that. I don't know about you, but I would want to keep. Like,
I'm glad we're recording it.
But also, I think it's just helpful for anyone else.
I hope so.
A transition.
I hope so. Or thinking about it or whatever. Because that's one thing I've been wanting to do is dive into the nuts and bolts. Because you just hear people like...
Yeah, you hear like the checklists and the best practices, but it's different when you actually hear... Like, there's so many things that like you just kind of have to go through.
Yeah, and it's different for everybody. And
right.
I've thought about, I'm curious what your thoughts are. I've thought about like, I don't think, especially now knowing that like bosses and stuff are aware of the stuff that I do, like there's the like I quit my job video. Definitely, obviously making the quit my job podcast, but it's not really related to my channel. But it's kind of a cool, like, wow, look at this. But then I know that there have been so many times personally where I see the I quit my job video and then the content shifts and becomes whatever. And part of me is like, I would like to just keep doing things as they are, just kind of level it up as much as I can, the way that I have been. And then if people dig in, they're like, oh, like a year ago there was this transition and I didn't even notice. And that's kind of like how I want it to be. So it's like, what I mean is if you're not like listening to this or whatever, ideally then you'd be watching the channel, just be like, oh, it's the channel I like. It's doing the stuff that it does, and not realizing that like a shift had happened.
Yeah.
Under
I think that's what I would assume you would do.
But anyway, it's almost like when I was like, it turns out everyone has an LLC. What? Are you serious? Like that stuff can happen. And you're like, oh, he just did it full time. Like, what do? You just leave your job one day and do this the next day? Or like, what is that process like?
Yeah,
and
that's
how
why
does
the
it feel?
podcast exists. So
that's why I think
can
this
break
is.
It down. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're listening over an hour into this right now, clearly you're in it,
Yeah.
So you're getting something out of it, I hope, or else you fell asleep, in which case, like, wake up. Alrighty.
Well, stay tuned because there's definitely going to be a part 3 at least, if not a part 4 also.
Oh yeah, and there's also, before all of these, I'll record like a precursor, like setting the stage for the next whatever.
I don't even think you need to set the stage. Just press play, yo.
Not me, yo.
You know Tom's king contextualizer.
Yes.
Gosh.
To a fault.
Oh, gee.
That's why I have a podcast. It could just be called Contextualizing with Tom. Anyway, I'm going to push this button to play the ska song right now. So Thank you for sorting this out and being supportive. I love you.
I love you.
Let's listen to the ska cast.